The non-physical entity he called INSPEC had a parting message for him. It explained that there was more to learn, a core, essential piece of knowledge still undiscovered, a basic, and then it simply wished him well on the road ahead. And just like that, the connection severed. Monroe was left staring into a silent, absolute void, his primary source of information entirely gone. Over the following days, he tried repeatedly to reach that exact same contact point. Every attempt yielded nothing. The presence had vanished without leaving even a whisper of residual energy. Without that guidance, his investigation stalled completely. He realized that progressing in any new direction was impossible until he identified exactly what this missing basic was. Looking at the data he had collected so far, Monroe realized his previous theories were flawed. His overarching view of reality was simply incomplete. To solve the problem, he adopted a strict new methodology. He decided to strip away all philosophical assumptions and emotional biases, seeking only objective, verifiable truth. The only path forward was to return to absolute ground zero. He needed to reconstruct the strict mechanical rules of biological reality from scratch. If he could completely deconstruct physical reality down to its first principles, he could isolate the missing variable of human existence. Upon entry into the physical world, every carbon-based organism is imprinted with a single overriding prime directive: survive. This directive operates as an impersonal, planetary engine. It drives cellular mechanics with the same blind, non-conscious energy as wind currents, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. To function, the system requires continuous biological imbalance. Bigger, faster organisms must continuously consume the smaller, slower ones. Within this strict mathematical environment, emotion has no real utility. Fear translates to one specific metric: the calculated possibility of non-survival. This flowchart maps the Earth life system's baseline pattern. Stasis is entropy. Entropy is death. It avoids stasis through a continuous cycle of consumption and change. It's a perfectly balanced, ruthless engine. Because it's completely sealed, awareness unrelated to survival is actively denigrated. Amid this highly efficient cycle, a sudden disruption appeared: the early hominid. This new species carried severe physical vulnerabilities. It lacked natural weaponry, had no defensive armor, couldn't outrun apex predators, and stood exposed on an upright spine designed for horizontal movement. Yet, this vulnerable creature possessed a single evolutionary modification that offset its physical deficits: an expanded frontal brain region. It presents an evolutionary paradox. The introduction of advanced consciousness was the only reason the physically weakest species survived a ruthless closed system. The hominid applied this modified brain to tool use, fire, and cooperation, systematically dominating all other competing life forms. But that biological victory carried a heavy psychological toll. Surviving required dedicating entirely all cognitive energy toward mastering the physical environment. By dedicating itself entirely to survival, humanity became permanently locked into that system's reality. The evolutionary victory formed a psychological prison, blinding human perception to anything outside the physical world. This points to a deeper ontological contradiction. The human mind, consciousness driving this mastery, is genuinely foreign to the Earth life system it conquered. Being alien to the environment generates a profound psychological isolation. When human consciousness reached adulthood, it found itself entirely alone, without parental figures to lean upon for support. In response, early human societies systematically invented their own artificial replacements. They constructed monumental god beings to provide the structural support and authority they lacked. Later, this drive for certainty took a more structured form. We organized the search for objective physical truths into the strict discipline of science. Whether ancient religion or modern science, both function as complex coping mechanisms, tools built by an alien consciousness desperately trying to map a reality it doesn't truly belong to. Returning to his present-day investigation, Monroe realized he had successfully mapped the knowns of physical reality. Yet, despite completely deconstructing the Earth life system, the original question remained completely unanswered. Decoding the mechanics of a biological engine provided zero insight into the purpose, the origin, or the true nature of the alien human mind. The core knowledge required to actually understand human existence, the missing basic, was still entirely out of reach. Humanity continues to dominate a closed biological system. We know exactly how the machine works, while lacking the single variable needed to understand ourselves.